On YouTube, A Crown, the Three Range Bros council member, is the creator of The Author's Crown. These are his stories.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Author's Crown. My name is A Crown. In this channel I will present to you stories written by both myself and occasionally stories written by good friends of mine. So without further ado, let's get this show started. Today's story is a crossover between two of my favorite video game franchises, the Halo series and the Doom series. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a Halo in Hell. I woke up in my cryopod. All around me, alarms were blaring. I attempted to open the door of it, but it was jammed. I began kicking at it, trying to force it open. After a few kicks, each increasing in force, the door finally fell from its hinges. I looked around for somebody, but all I found were bodies strewn about. I said, "Cortana, what's going on?" Cortana, the AI interface in my helmet, spoke through my display and said, "John, we passed through a portal and crash-landed, but we got a big problem. Threats on board, and a lot of them." "Is it Covenant?" I replied. Cortana responded, "No, it's something else. They're just outside the door." I looked around and picked up a nearby battle rifle and said, "I'm ready." As I trained my weapon on the door, I saw plasma burning through it. Cortana came back over my comms and said, "Here they come." Next thing I knew, strange creatures came bursting through the door. I opened fire, targeting each of them. A few of them got close, but I bashed them with my rifle. I then fired on another one and kept targeting every one of them until the room was clear. I knelt down to check the body and said, "Cortana, what are these things?" "I got no idea, Chief," she responded. "Run a scan of the area outside the ship. Find out where we are," I said as I reloaded my weapon. "On it, Chief," Cortana responded before she went quiet. I stepped through the hole in the door and looked down the hallway. Another group of the creatures came around the corner, and I took them out quickly. Cortana's voice returned and said, "Chief, another problem. The scans aren't picking up anything." I kept fighting these things when some different creatures threw fireballs at me. I rolled out of the way and grabbed a nearby shotgun. I took out them and walked towards the door nearby and said, "Okay, let's go figure where we are at ourselves." I kicked the broken door, and it came off easily, falling to the ground. I stepped out and looked around and said, "Cortana, what am I looking at?" She paused for a moment before saying, "I don't know, and that scares me." I looked around as I could see massive beasts walking around in the distance, as fires raged across all the land. "John, what are we going to do?" Cortana asked. I walked over towards a nearby cliff and said, "What I always do. Fight." I fought my way through swarms of strange creatures. With every one I shot down, it seemed like another took its place. When I ran out of ammo, I resorted to beating them down with my bare hands. Finally, after what felt like hours, I found myself face to face, facing a large pink creature. It charged me, and I struggled with it. It tried to bite me, but I held its massive jaws back. As I fought with the creature, I saw a UNSC ship falling from orbit. One of the pods had broken loose and began falling towards me. I pulled away from the creature and kicked it back. I then dove as the pod approached rapidly. Within seconds, the pod hit the creature as it roared. The shockwave sent me rolling across the ground. My helmet rolled off and my head hit a large rock. Everything went fuzzy and began to get dark. As I began to lose consciousness, I could hear Cortana yelling, "Chief! Chief!" Everything around me burned as I fought my way through the demons. I blasted each one I saw from far. Every one of them got close. I ripped apart, tearing them to bits. I kept blasting and fighting my way through them all. As I killed everything in sight, an archdemon appeared. I fought it with it, easily taking it out and crushing it beneath my boot. Suddenly, a swarm of strange demons appeared with tentacles and strange growths on their skin. I fought them off, but they kept coming. They were even more persistent than the regular demons. Then some small creatures came charging, and they attached themselves to the dead ones. Each one then rose back to life. As I looked all around me, I then saw a massive ring above me. It was clearly far above the surface. A light appeared in the center of it and fired from directly above. The beam of light hit and everything went bright. I woke up from the strange dream. It felt so real. Cortana's voice said, "Chief, I'm glad you're okay. You scared me for a minute there." I grabbed my helmet and stood up. I responded, "How long was I out?" "Only a few minutes. You want to talk about that freaky dream you had?" she said. I put my helmet on and replied, "No time. We need to get away off this rock." She then told me, "I'm picking up a signal from the Sword of Perseus' wreckage." "Show me," I said. She then placed a location marker on my hood. I walked over to the escape pod wreckage and searched it for any ammunition or weapons. I found a couple of magazines and reloaded my pistol, dropped my shotgun, taking a battle rifle. I slung the rifle on my back and the pistol on my leg, before picking up a few grenades and putting them on my hip. I then picked up a nearby sniper rifle and began to walk across the hellish landscape, looking out over the vast area. In the distance, I could see a group of demons attacking something. I asked Cortana, "Any word from survivors?" She responded, "Nothing on any of our channels, but never say never." I replied, "I'm going over to that city before I head to the crash site, even if it's not backup. They need my help." I ran off towards the city as Cortana said, "Be careful, Chief." A few moments later, I soon arrived in the city. I searched around looking for anyone. I glanced around and Cortana said, "It's quiet. Too quiet." I heard strange roaring sounds and Cortana yelled, "Chief, find cover. It's an ambush." I dove, avoiding fire blasts and rolling into cover. These creatures were different. They looked even less human. I propped my sniper rifle on the concrete and targeted some of the attackers. I lined up my shots perfectly one by one, taking them out with one shot. Some of the creatures from my arrival began swarming around me. I put down my sniper rifle and grabbed my battle rifle and began shooting them down. I also bashed any that came close to me with my rifle, but they began to quickly overwhelm me. I kept fighting as Cortana in my ear yelled, "Chief, no!" As I struggled against the swarming creatures, a booming shot rang out, after which everything went quiet. Amongst the silence, the only thing I could hear was footsteps. Then the demons turned their attention to something else. More shots rang out, and I could also hear the sound of the creatures being blown away. As I moved towards the commotion, I told Cortana, "Looks like I do have some backup." "And not a moment too soon," she replied. As I moved around the corner and shot at some straggling creatures, I saw a figure standing there, easily gunning them down. The armor looked almost similar to mine, but a lot less covering. As the figures and I finished off the last of them, I approached him. I put my weapon at my side and then held out my hand and said, "Good work, soldier. Happy to have some backup." As I got closer, the figure turned to me and pushed my hand to the side and held his shotgun towards me. I instinctively swatted it to the side and pulled out my pistol, pointing it at the man. He knocked it from my hand, and I threw a punch at him. He blocked it and kicked me back. I pulled out my rifle and fired a burst. He rolled out of the way. I fired a couple of shots from some kind of automatic weapon. I took cover as I felt bullets flying over my helmet. Cortana frantically said, "What's this guy's problem?" I called from behind my cover, "Hey, I think we're on the same side." The shot stopped and I peeked out. I saw him with a large black weapon. He fired it and an explosive shot blew my cover to bits, knocking me to the ground. I got up and ran, then kept firing, just narrowly avoiding the rockets, or whatever these things were. As I thought to myself, I looked over to some kind of tech pedestal nearby. "Hey, Cortana, do you think you can hack into that device over there?" I asked. "I can give it a shot," she replied. I ran out from behind my cover and saw the armored man standing there with a large weapon. I fired to try and push the man back. He returned fire with some kind of rapid fire. I avoided the shots, barely rolling and taking Cortana's chip out of my helmet. I dove towards the pedestal as the bullets ricocheted off my suit. I put Cortana's chip in it, and the AI appeared standing on it. She yelled, "Stop!" Her words echoed, and a mysterious warrior ceased fire and looked over at Cortana. He approached it and looked at her confusingly. Cortana then said, "We are not your enemies." He kept an eye on me as Cortana explained who we were. "My name is Cortana, a UNSC AI. This is my friend, Master Chief Petty Officer John 117. We landed here after our ship passed through some strange anomaly. Honestly, we don't even know where here is." The mysterious stranger knelt down, and I watched as he wrote something in the blood. I looked close after he backed up and saw it said one word: Hell. As I began to ask what he meant by hell, we heard a massive explosion. We looked over and saw it coming from the crashed ship. We picked up our weapons and ran off towards it. We ran into a few of these demons, but they were no match for the two of us, and we took them out easily and quickly. As we neared the wreckage, I motioned for the Marine to take cover with me. We peeked out and saw the ship. Cortana said, "That's the Sword of Perseus, all right. Take caution, but hopefully there's survivors." I stopped her from explaining more about the Covenant and pointed at some demons investigating the crashed ship. Then we heard an all too familiar sound as something attacked the demon, and it fell into the darkness where we couldn't see. Cortana asked, "Chief, that sound wasn't what I think it was it?" I looked back towards the ship and said, "Yeah, the flood." The attack demon burst from the darkness and roared. Its body had changed, now having flood-like features, along with its demonic features. Then more demons arrived and began attacking the flood-like demon. I said, "Let's stay back. The flood is dangerous." I said it, but before I could finish talking, the Marine leapt from our carver, charging and firing wildly. I heard one of the demons yell, "Doomslayer!" It fired fireballs at him, but he dodged. "Chief, you gotta stop him," Cortana yelled. "On it," I replied as I leapt from the cover and ran after the Marine. He fought off demons and did pretty good against the flood infected, but I saw a carrier approaching him. I fought through some flood, blasting them away. I then tackled the Doomslayer away from the carrier. He got angry and held me to the ground with his gun pressed against my helmet. I took out my pistol and blasted the carrier from behind us, which burst, also causing another carrier nearby to burst. Spores went flying through the air. I rolled free and said, "Use your shotgun. It will clear the spores faster." Doomslayer pulled out his shotgun and fired off a couple rounds, easily clearing them out. He approached and found one spore squirming. He lifted his boot and crushed it. I then approached and said, "These things aren't easily killable. We need to get in there and take out the rest of them before they have a chance to establish a full hive." Doomslayer nodded and followed behind me as we crept into the ship. After walking through the dimly lit wreckage, we found some more flood spores and infected. We fought them off quickly before they had a chance to create more. As we continued, we heard a massive roar in the darkness, and all of a sudden something picked me up and threw me through the nearby wall, and then kicked Doomslayer through the same wall. I got up to my feet and readied my weapon as I asked, "What the hell is that thing?" Doomslayer spoke, saying only, "Cyber Demon." We both charged, but the Cyber Demon raised its hand, and I saw some strange weapon attached to its arm start to glow green. I ran towards it, but the Doomslayer pulled me out of the way as the Cyber Demon fired a ball of green energy, which completely decimated every biological thing in its path. I got up to my feet and saw flood spores swarming all over the Cyber Demon. It fell to the ground, but then began to mutate into an even more hideous-looking monstrosity. It charged towards us, swinging its tentacles. I ducked out of the way as the Doomslayer dove. We both got up and ran from it to a nearby temple-looking structure. As the Cyber Demon pursued us, we soon found ourselves hiding in it. Demon Slayer looked intently at a console nearby and said, "Portal." I asked Cortana, "You think you can activate it?" She replied, "I can sure try." I pulled her chip from my helmet and put it in the console. She then said, "Buy me some time." On it, I readied my weapon, and the Doomslayer nodded at me. We both began firing at the massive mutant cyber demon. I looked around and saw out a nearby opening an army of fled infected demons spreading out over the burning landscape. The cyber demon then burst through the wall, sending us both crashing. I saw it preparing to fire, and I heard Katana say, "Still need a few more minutes," as a green portal began to take shape near the console. The cyber demon then roared, and I leapt onto its arm to keep it from aiming at us. As I held onto it with all of my strength, the Doomslayer yelled, "Rip! Tear!" He leapt into the air with his red blade in hand and brought it down, severing the creature's arm. I fell to the ground and looked up as I saw a halo-like ring above us. In the center of it, I could see energy building up, and I heard Cortana yell, "Time to go, Chief!" I got up with the creature's arm still in hand and ran for the console. I took Cortana's chip as the Doomslayer held off flood demons. Then all of a sudden, a massive blast of energy hit the ground near us, sending him flying one way as I was flown through the portal. I crashed to the ground and looked around for the Doomslayer, but he was nowhere to be found. I dropped the cyber demon's weaponized arm and went to put Cortana's chip back in my helmet. But as I opened my hand, I realized it wasn't there. I scurried around looking for it, but could find nothing. I then fell to the ground and said to myself, "Cortana, I'm sorry," as everything around me went black. And that's the story for today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you like what you heard today, stay tuned for some awesome things to check out on the Zeo to Hero Network. And thank you for listening to The Author's Crown. Subscribe to the channel! Do it now! What the hell, Grayson? I don't want to do this.
Come on, Roy. Don't be a jerk.
Fine. My name is Roy Harper, or you might know me as Arsenal. If you're interested in an original story set in the DC and Marvel universes, you need to go to Tiger Tales and listen to War Against Gotham.
And his other channels?
Shut up, Grayson. I'm getting to it. You may also want to go check out his other channels. There, you happy dick.
You could have at least done it with a little bit more enthusiasm.
No, I did it. Now I'm going home. Hey everyone, I'm A-Crown, and I'm thrilled to share that I'll be stepping into the cape and cowl as Batman in Nerdsto Comics' brand new audio drama adaptation of The Killing Joke. If you followed the channel before, you might know me from some of its other projects. I've had the chance to voice Commander William Riker and Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy in Doctor Who Star Trek Assimilation, Billy Cranston in Goldar in Power Rangers adaptations, and even Taskmaster and Thor in Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. But this is special. The Killing Joke is one of the most iconic Batman stories ever told, and bringing it to life through audio has been an incredible experience. So make sure to follow Nerdsto Comics and get ready to step into Gotham with us when the laughter begins. And that's the story for today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you like what you heard today, stay tuned for some awesome things to check out on the Zeo to Hero Network. And thank you for listening to The Author's Crown. On YouTube, A Crown, the Three Range Bros Council member, is the creator of The Author's Crown. These are his stories.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it now.
What the hell, Grayson? I don't want to do this.
Come on, Roy. Don't be a jerk.
Fine. My name is Roy Harper, or you might know me as Arsenal. If you're interested in an original story set in the DC and Marvel universes, you need to go to Tiger Tales and listen to War Against Gotham.
And his other channels?
Shut up, Grayson. I'm getting to it. You may also want to go check out his other channels. There, you happy dick.
You could have at least done it with a little bit more enthusiasm.
No, I did it. Now I'm going home. Insignificant humans. My name is Golda, servant of the great and powerful Empress, Rita Repulsa. She has commanded me to tell you to go listen to the adaptation of Boom Comics' Power Rangers on Nerdstro Comics. Now, do as she commands, or be destroyed.